Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Apex Racing TV and iRacing Live, and welcome to the start of a brand new season here in the IMSA Sportscar Series. Another 12-week campaign ready to get underway, and there's been quite a few changes actually as well. Adam Bath here with Sam Kuma on the cameras, and we'll hear from him as well during the broadcast today. First of all, we'll start with the first big news. The Porsche has arrived. Finally, we get it here. Car series. We had the rough for the last few seasons, but now we finally get to see the Porsche in all its glory. It will be in its own class, the German GT3 class, which is made of the usual BMWs, Audis and Mercedes, and the Corvette C7s, which are the Daytona prototypes at the front of the field. We'll quickly run you through the schedule as well. 12-week campaign starts off here today at Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. Then next week we head to Silverstone in the UK, it's a 5-minute race there before getting to Road Atlanta for a 75-minute race. Indianapolis, the road course at the beginning of April. Then Watkins Glen International, Barber Motorsports Park. Sebring at night, 45-minute race there in the middle of April. Sorry, at the end of April. Head into May, Circuit of the Americas, then Monza, Daytona at night for a 45-minute race there, and then we end the season with Mid-Ohio, 45-minute race there, and a 75-minute race to end the season at Road America. Well, our Apex Racing TV Porsche expert, it seems, is Sam Kuma. I know you take part in the Monday night Porsche broadcast, which we have on Apex Racing TV, and planning to participate in the upcoming BSR Porsche series. How is the Porsche handling-wise in this series?
Well, I wouldn't call myself an expert based on the times, but I did a little bit of testing here before this race with the Porsche, and it seems surprisingly good through this corner. I think the only main issue here is the braking into the corkscrew, because you go over the little hump, it gets loose very easily, and the Porsche is probably best known for it how difficult it is to brake in the corners.
How hard is it to drive? Is it one of the more tougher cars to handle on the iRacing service?
Yes and no. It is very easy to slide and recover, but braking is something that you need to practice, and you will find many braking zones very bumpy with that one.
You're welcome, Sam, as the rest of the broadcast goes on. Qualifying is underway at the moment. As usual, 2 laps for these guys to set a benchmark. And we've got a very nice big field here today at Laguna Seca. 35 cars in the top split. We've got 8 Daytona prototypes. We've got, as I refresh my timing screen, we've got 11 German GT3s, and you can expect, of course, the Porsches to be popular. We've got 12 of them, and I think the change to the Porsche pretty welcome in the IMSA Sports Car Series, Sam, because we now have a bigger class, because we only had about 4 or 5 cars in the roughs last season.
Yeah, and it's definitely helping that the Porsche Cup itself is also popular, and these race times do not overlap, so people can jump in between the two series. And in comparison to the old C-Spec, I think it's way easier car to approach and drive and get some laps in.
I haven't had a chance to drive the Porsche yet. I only bought it a few days ago, but yeah, I'll definitely jump into a session at some point during the next 12 weeks to give it a go. I know Alex Simpson has barely had a chance to go in it either. Not too long to go in the qualifying session, really. Last few cars coming around to complete laps. Just seeing who else has done. Ben Gregory has just done a lap, I think. He's gone into 8th place in the Daytona prototypes with a 15.6. Very short lap around Laguna Seca here. It is 3.6 kilometers, 11 corners, and traffic's going to be at a premium here, Sam, because it's yeah, not a very long circuit.
Yeah, that's something I noticed in the practices, and that especially driving the Porsche, you have to constantly be on the lookout, look at the mirrors, and those Daytona prototypes are approaching very fast. Even the GT3 cars are very fast into the corkscrew, so that is something you constantly have to be on the lookout for. Just looking at the times, the top field is as expected with Grossman in the second place currently just something I've noticed that in the practice earlier, Grossman was running into the 1 minute turbines, but now his qualify is a little bit slower at 1 minute 14.1.
Yeah, of course, in qualifying, you get, of course, off-track points, and they could invalidate the lap, and maybe he was just trying to make sure that he didn't get any off-track points during the lap. But yeah, slightly slower in qualifying. Simon Grossman, currently second on the grid, and we're running through the grid now as we get ready for the opening race of the day. And of course, a rolling starts. We'll have a complete pace lap. The safety car will pull into the pits, and we will get this 45-minute show on the road. Dustin Hickman then starts on pole position, Simon Grossman second, Dirk Reinhardt in third, Syandra is also returning, he's in fourth, Joseph Burton Harris in fifth, Ronnie Nunez in sixth, Dan Fitzpatrick, the first of the British drivers, in seventh, Ben Gregory 8th, Michael Evdoka in 9th, and Martin Blaise rounding out the top 10 and rounding out your Daytona prototypes. Into the German GT3s, Ricardo Castroledo with the number 1 plate on his car is in first place in that category, with Julio Ornelas in second, Kieran Peace in third, Jesus Nogyu in fourth, fifth is Matt York, sixth Jorge Blascavals, seventh Doman Gantar, eighth Fabian Glokner, then ninth is Dimitri Nikitsky, and then 10th it's Omar Rubio Munoz, and then 11th is Stefan Herring, 12th Rene Penkit, and then 13th Ricardo Martins. And then into the Porsche 911 category, it is Christian Thilo Zook on pole position there, with Ryger Galloway in second, Michel Richie in third, Marcel Fassbender in fourth, Matthias Schoger in fifth, Matthias Heber in sixth, Marc Matin in seventh, Cedric Gesmier in eighth, then Jason Merical in ninth, and Lando Norris in 10th, with Leonardo Corti in 11th, one of the strong drivers when we were racing in the rough C-Specs last season, in 11th, and 12th, rounding out the 35 car field, it is Giacomo Ponte. Mandatory pit stop in this field, in this competition as well. Sam, iRacing will probably have modified the fuel so that there will be a mandatory pit stop. But with that taken away, how long can these Porsches usually stretch before they need to make a fuel stop?
I think they've recently, with the latest patch, also improved the fuel economy. So I don't exactly know, because I've just been running the sort of Porsche Cup series, and that's where you don't need to switch for tires or the fuel. But it will be interesting to see who can make the longest.
Yeah, because back last season, the rough C-Specs definitely seem to be the ones that made the pit stops later on in the race, and it's interesting you should bring up the whole fuel economy thing. It has been applied to most of the cars on the iRacing service. I was chatting to Conrad Venter last night when we were doing the Kia Cup, and apparently the Mazda MX-5 can now stretch its fuel load to about an hour and a half during the race. So when it comes to the longer endurance races, such as the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring that we've got coming up in the next few weeks and months, there's going to be superly long stints, because the drivers will be able to go so long on the fuel. But they won't have to worry about that today, because it's the IMSA Sportscar Series 45-minute race, a sprint race really in terms of endurance racing, and there will be a mandatory pit stop for all of the cars in the field. No driver changes in this race either, so all the drivers that are on the grid now are the ones that are going to be starting and finishing the race.
And it's also nice to see the RAF still being used as a pace car, even if it's not running in the official series anymore.
Yeah, good to see it still here. And I think the RAFs managed to realise that there is a second gear. Last season, I don't think it was able to ever get past 67 kilometers per hour, but looks like iRacing have made the pace car driver realise that there is another gear in that car, and there it goes into the pit lane. Field is in the hands of Dustin Hickman to get this championship underway. Through the final corner, green flag is in the air, and round one of the IMSA Sportscar Series here at Laguna Seca underway.
Yeah, Dustin Hickman got a very good start, and he's under no pressure going to turn one. But behind him there's a big gaggle of cars.
Two teammates leading them, well, going through. Dirk Reinhardt and Simon Grossman, both German, part of the club, I should say, going through the right-hander at turn 3. Good start from those guys, but no position changes in the Daytona prototypes. Into the German GT3s, it's been a good start from Ricardo Castroledo. His Audi is leading the way. Second is Julio Ornelas in second, and Kieran Peace in third. Fourth, Jesus Nogu and Matt York in fifth. So it's as you were in the German GT3s. Into the Porsches for the first time, it is Christian Thilo Zook leading the way there. Good start from him. He's already up to the lead there, and then Michel Richy in second, up 2 positions, so good start from him. Ry Galloway in third, and Marcel Fassbender fourth, and Matthias Schoger running out the top 5 in that class already. Ben Gregory, sorry, it was it is Ben Gregory. He looks like he might have been involved in a bit of issues with Ronnie Nunez going through the second part of the corkscrew. I know Nunez, just looking back on a replay, Sam, it looks like Nunez made a small mistake on the exit of the corkscrew. Yeah,
it looks like Nunez spun around on the exit of the corkscrew, and Benjamin Gregory must have had a slowdown or something. Oh, they also came together.
Yeah.
Turn 9.
Nice to see that Ben Gregory is running the Apex Academy livery on the car for this race. He's
also another driver we've seen in the BSRC racing the Kia.
Yeah, he was racing in the Kia last night as well. It's Imola, now here in the IMSA Sportscar Series. Well travelled, you could say, about Ben Gregory, but end of the opening lap, Dustin Hickman leads Simon Grossman by half a second. Grossman starting to pull away from his teammate Dirk Reinhardt in third. Then fourth is Cy Andra, fifth is Joseph Burton Harris, and then sixth Sam Fitzpatrick up 1 position. Evdoka and Martin Blaise both benefiting from Nunez's mistake at the corkscrew, a Ben Gregory slowdown and subsequent contacts going through turn 9. And these Daytona prototypes, Sam, we've seen over the last few races that we did last season that they can run pretty close to each other, but it seems to be pretty difficult to get an overtake done just because they're so quick.
Yeah, and especially here because this is fairly technical and slow track. There's not so much overtaking spots after the long straight, so it will be a challenge for them, and also because it's relatively short track. They're running in 1 minute 14s, and they are already maybe 1 or 2 laps ahead. They will catch with the back of the Porsche cars.
Is there too much difference in speed between the Porsches and the roughs that we were running last season?
I didn't race the recent C-Spec, but at least it drives way better.
Andra and Dirk Reinhardt very close as we come over the Rahal Straight, or on the Rahal Straight, and into the corkscrew. Reinhardt's having to go on a defensive hit in the early going. Andrew could get a good run here on the exit of the corkscrew, but he's got to be watchful of Joseph Burton Harris behind, the UK and Ireland driver. Closing up here going into turn 10, the penultimate corner. Lots of camber around this Laguna Seca circuit, and then into the final corner at turn 11. It's 90-degree left-hander, and back onto the front straight you go, and into one of the key overtaking points on the circuit, really, Sam.
Yeah, this is really one of the places where you can, if you can get a good run out of the last corner, this is where you have to try and make the move, because after that it's very tight and twisty sections that you cannot really easily set up and overtake.
Yeah, maybe the corkscrew might be one, but it is very difficult to get a move done there, and you're risking, you're taking your chances in the race into your own hands. So maybe not do a move into the corkscrew, but we'll see if any drivers get that done during the rest of the race.
Yeah, looks like we have a pretty good battle for the lead in the Porsche class between Thilo Zook and Michel Richy.
Yeah, very close, these two, as they come across the line. Great to hear that straight 6 Porsche on iRacing here as we come across the straight, which isn't straight, and into the Andretti hairpin here. Last time around, Thilo Zook did a 23.0, 22.8 for Michel Richy, and that is 0.2 of a second quicker. And getting a good run through here, so we could see an overtake on our hands if Richy can get a good exit. You can see they use a lot of the rumble strips, and now here comes Michel Richy to the outside, going into this left-hander at turn 6. This is where Lorenzo in the MotoGP had a huge incident about 10 years ago, and now he's going around the outside. Richie, who's going to have the line though? Who's going to be the one given priority into this left-hander? Richie's not going to give up, but he's going to have to slot into second place in class for now. Thilo Zook back to the lead, and all this, Sam, is just allowing Marcel Fassbender just to slowly edge up onto these two.
Yeah, that was really costing them time. Now it's a three-way battle for the lead.
Marcel Fassbender, who did really well in the Rups last season, was close to taking the championship, but wasn't able to get it done in the end, but he's back for more, and this time in the Porsche, and he's fancying his chances of possibly getting second place in class here as we go into the final corner. See what lap times these guys do again as we come across the line. These Porsches just about to start lap 5 of the race, already they're almost a minute behind the Daytona prototypes. 23.9 for both Zook and Richie, and a 23.3 for Fassbender. Just showing you there how much time that these guys lost, about 0.6 of a second lost just while they were battling through this opening sector of the lap, and looks like they're going to do so again. Looks like Thilo Zook possibly doesn't have this first sector nailed as much as Richie, because Michel definitely looks the stronger of the two with this opening third of the lap.
Yeah, it was really looking like Richie was in under the braking for that turn 1, and maybe even gave him a little bit of tap to hurry up and go.
Running wide out of the exit there, Thilo Zook nearly putting a few wheels into the dirt, and he does so again there, trying to get the best possible entry into the kink before he heads up the Rahal straight. Richie looking to the outside into the corkscrew, but doesn't want to show his hands just yet, blocking the front there. Thilo Zook into the corkscrew, and once again it's as you were between Thilo Zook and Michel Richie. I can tell you that in the German GT3s, Castroledo's cleared off really, 4-second lead over Julio Ornelas in second, and then he's 2 seconds ahead of Kieran Peace in third. Jesus Noggi about second behind him in fourth, and Matt York in fifth. So not much activity going on at the front of the order in the German GT3s in the early going.
And I can tell you that the leading Daytona prototypes have just got up with the back of the Porsche field, and this is going to get exciting.
Yeah, Dustin Hickman just coming, and our leader, and our second baseman Simon Grossman now trying to get past Matthias Hebert in the Porsches. It's not end well. Up the inside they go. And Simon Grossman's trying everything he can to stay with our race leader, but Dustin Hickman's scything through the Porsche field in the early going, and Simon Grossman saying, "Watch out, Porsches! I'm coming through as well." And here comes the other Daytona prototype. It's Grossman's teammate Dirk Reinhardt.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the key factors here for tonight's race. Who can make it through the lap traffic and survive it without any damage, and just do it without losing any time.
Oh, they're going to lose a lot. Yeah, here comes Hickman into the corkscrew. Up the inside as well goes Grossman. He's trying to get the moves done. He's just lapped Leonardo Corti. Plenty of cars all over the place here. Syandra's now on the back of Dirk Reinhardt. Oh, that's very close to contact as Syandra tries to get up the inside of the Porsches going through turn 9. And now into turn 10, the penultimate corner. Porsches going this way and that. Daytona prototypes as well, trying to find their own bit of space on the track. And you can see the lights getting flashed there by Simon Grossman as he laps Lando Norris in his Red Bull Porsche 911 there as we cross the line. And very stressful times for these Daytona prototypes, but they seem to be doing it without getting too much damage or without making too much contact with the Porsche 911s.
Yeah, so far we've been avoiding any incidents there, but to be fair, I mean, the Porsche drivers, they are under no obligations to just slow down and let them pass. They have their own race as well.
That's it, yeah, and here comes a battle between Dirk Reinhardt and Ryan Galloway. No, it's not, it's Joseph Burton Harris. They were just lapping Ryan Galloway. And now they're coming up to another gaggle of Porsche 911s. These are our leaders, of course, Zook, Richie and Fassbender. And Richie's going for the lead in the Porsches. Contact made, I think, and off goes Richie into the gravel trap at the corkscrew. Would have wanted at all, and he might have picked up a little bit of damage out of that, Sam. But was there contact between him and Thilo Zook?
Just
I don't think there was actually.
The
replay on screen now, and a credit to Thilo Zook. I was wrong. I don't think any contact was made between the two of them.
It looked like he just locked up under the braking. And
just lock the rears. Well, there you go, drama in the Porsches already, and that is Michel Ricci down to 4th place. That's back where he started. It had been a good race up to that point. Now Marcel Fassbender's going for 2nd in class. He's just gone past looks like his teammate in Matthias Schoger. But Fassbender now up into 2nd. However, Thilo Zucker's flown away since that mistake by Ricci up at the corkscrew. He's now got a 2.8 second lead after all that. Possibly down to the Daytona prototypes lapping them earlier on. And now Dustin Hickman, after the traffic has cycled through, has got a 1.6 second lead over Simon Grossman. So the 2 leaders in the Porsches and the Daytona prototypes have worked the traffic to their advantage, and they've got a nice healthy lead for the time being.
Yeah, usually the first guy coming into the traffic is going to have the hardest time because other drivers aren't aware of it. But so looks like Hickman has made a good progress through the cars.
We're now coming up to the German GT3s. So we're going to get them in dribs and drabs here. They're more spread out than the Porsches anyway. They've just lapped the Audi of Omar Rubio Munoz. And through there goes Simon Grossman as well. 2nd place man in the Daytona prototypes. Was half a second quicker than Dustin Hickman last time around, as Dirk Reinhardt has a little bit of an issue getting by the Audi there. And Joseph Burton Harris now through as well. So yeah, Simon Grossman showing that he is pretty quick around here, and we'll be trying to get back to Dustin Hickman. The gap currently just under a second, and just about to come up to lap Ricardo Martins now in the German GT3. Just seeing if we've got any battles in that class to look at. Close battle here between Dimitri Nikitsky and Rene Penquit, and contacts, and off they both go.
Yeah, that was too close.
There we go. We managed to get that on air. Nikitsky and Penquit, and yeah, it looked like that they were pretty close together going into the corkscrew.
Yeah, a little bit of damage on the both cars, but we'll see if that affects their lap times.
But get back going again, and now they're getting lapped by all of the Daytona prototypes. But you can see now Simon Grossman right back on the rear of Dustin Hickman. That gap that was 9/10 of a second at the beginning of the lap has been eradicated to literally nothing as we go through the final corner. They're going to come up to lap Nikitsky now as we cross the line. See what the lap times are like, because it must have been a pretty slow lap from Hickman to allow Grossman to get back onto the rear of him. 16.3 for Hickman, 15.7 for Simon Grossman. And looking up the inside into the Andretti hairpin, can Dustin Hickman use Nikitsky in the BMW to his advantage? Not really, he can't box him in, and they're both able to get through pretty easily. And you can see in the background Reinhardt and Joseph Burton Harris continuing their epic duel over the final spot on the podium here. Two great battles inside the Daytona prototypes here.
Yeah, we have the top 5 is pretty close to each other, but then it's a long gap back to Sam Fitzpatrick on the 6th place.
Yeah, it is.
So it's basically, yeah, the field has been split into 2.
Yeah, 13 seconds between Syandra and Sam Fitzpatrick. Problem possibly for Jesus Nogyu. He's just lost a position, and he's dropping down the order. Has he gone off? He might have gone off in the penultimate corner. Yes, it looks like he has, and with the camber in that corner, Sam, is it pretty easy to lose the car going through there?
I don't think so. It's not a huge issue in that corner, but obviously if you just go too aggressively on that throttle, then anything can happen. Oh, and he almost collided with the Audi. Who was that? So 87.
Car 87.
I might have just missed it. Yeah. Little mistake there, and down you go. We also have Penquit in the pits preparing for the damage he received in that incident in the corkscrew.
Things are close again in the Daytona prototypes, and they're trying to lap some German GT3s here. Very colourful car. That is Jesus Nogyu, the car we saw off going through the penultimate corner in his Mercedes, and the Audi of Fabio Klogner. Up the inside they all go. Can they all get through safely here? Through the top 4 go, and that spread them out actually a little bit, because prior to them lapping, those 2 German GT3s, they were right with each other, and Nogyu now using the opportunity to get round the outside of the Audi. This is going to box in Syandra a little bit, but he doesn't need to worry because the next car behind him is 13 seconds away. But he will start to lose touch with those fighting four in front of him as they come across line again.
Yeah, that's one of the things with the lap traffic. You want to keep up with the flow and not get boxed in and miss out the opportunity to make the passes.
Simon Grossman now under pressure from his teammate Dirk Reinhardt going into turn 6 here, having to cover off the inside, and this might allow Burton Harris the opportunity to get up the inside. Nearly contact between the two of them as they head up the hill. Dirk Reinhardt just enough to keep his Daytona prototype in front of Burton Harris, and now we're heading up the Ray House straight towards the corkscrew. And could there be a move here up the inside? Late on the brakes they go, contact's made, and that didn't go well at all for Joseph Burton Harris when he just threw it up the inside. That didn't work at all well.
Yeah, now he's in a really bad place. Fortunately, he was able to get back going without causing any further incidents there.
And that's eased the pressure off Dirk Reinhardt for now. He's just got Syandra now that's near him. In the last few laps, Dustin Hickman's been able to put 1.5 seconds on Simon Grossman, so he's definitely checked out. We saw just a few laps ago, he had a 1 second lead at the start of the lap, ended it with literally nothing. However, one thing that will be in his favour now, Sam, is that the majority of these German GT3s now, the front four, are all separated by quite big margins, so you'll be able to pick these guys off one by one.
Yeah, it's much easier if you have just individual cars to overtake and not use battlepacks. Like if you take a look at the Porsche field, they are all very close together still after 11 laps. And it looks like we are going to have get red battles in there all the way to the end.
Yeah, and Christian Tilo Zooks hasn't really been able to shake off Marcel Fassbender at all since we last checked in with them. The gap between these two, just 7/10 of a second. Then third is Matthias Schoger. Michel Ritchie still sliding his way through. He's definitely enjoying this race at the moment despite going off earlier. He's in fourth, he's trying to get back those positions that he lost earlier. It's probably going to be one to watch through the second half of the race, which we are quickly approaching. Just 27 minutes to go then in the opening race of the day as Ritchie goes wide again through turn 6 in the IMSA Sportscar Series, round 1 of the series here at Laguna Seca. 19 degrees ambient temperature here today in California, 24 degrees track temperature, so pretty cool as far as iRacing conditions go. Adam Bath here with Sam Kumo bringing you all the action from another season of great sports car racing here in the IMSA Sportscar Series.
Yeah, we just saw Michel Ritchie really hitting hard that red curve on the turn 6. That's not something you can get away with many times in one race. Sooner or later it will bite you and break the car.
Yeah, the curbs here at Laguna Seca aren't too forgiving. Some of them are, like the blue and white ones obviously used back in the day when the MotoGP circus used to come to town every year, but those big curbs on the exit, just like those ones, they can, which Marcel Fassbender has just been through now, they can really hurt you, and if you put too many wheels onto them or are on it for too long, they can spit you out and send you into the gravel, or even worse, maybe even into the wall. So a few obstacles for the drivers to watch out for during the race, and one obstacle they're going to have to negotiate in a few laps time, Sam, is the first round of pit stops, and quite a few things for the drivers have to worry about: how much fuel to put in the car, which many drivers don't seem to know how to do last season, and make sure that they don't want to change tyres either, because that will just cost them even more time.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how the Porsche drivers are going to handle the pit stops. Are they just going to take the fuel, or are they also going to take the tires? I would guess that they will be taking tires, because some guys have been having issues with the tires lasting through even those 15-minute races.
And the pit stops will be coming up soon. 25 minutes to go in the race. Only two cars out of, well, they're currently in the pits or not running. Stefan Herring hasn't taken to the track at all today. He hasn't taken the start. And René Penquit, we saw him coming into the pits earlier, and looks like he sustained quite a bit of damage, because he has been in the pits now for a good 6 minutes.
Yeah,
Ryan Galloway also came in the pits.
Yeah, we just saw Benjamin Gregory coming out of the pits and also knocking a few of those cones out of the way. I'm not sure why he pitted it, showing up as 10-second pit stop.
Yeah, 9.5 second stop.
Yeah, that's not enough for fuel.
Interesting for Ben Gregory. I don't know whether there was a reason for that, but yeah, 31.5 second pit lane time and a 9.5 second stop for the Kia Cup Series driver. Race on a controller back in season 6 of the BSRTC, won an IMSA Championship whilst racing on a controller, which is very difficult indeed to do. It's much harder than racing on a wheel, I am told, because our Apex colleague Andrew Woodhouse raced on iRacing with a controller for a while. And Ben Gregory making that early pit stop. And yeah, Sam was saying most likely an unscheduled one because he hasn't been able to put enough fuel in the car in that 9.5 second stop. Looks like Dustin Hickman is having the gap eroded again. Simon Grossman closing in as these guys continue to lap, and Hickman's looks like he's picked up a bit of damage to the right front of his Daytona prototype now.
Yeah, there's definitely some. He has had some incident somewhere.
I've had trouble.
If we can find where it is.
Well, I've just seen one incident that we might need to look back at. This was Julio Ornelas, who was third in the German GT3s, got lapped by Joseph Burston Harris, who's having a bit of a field day with the corkscrew today. Had a bit of contact with one of his fellow Daytona prototypes earlier, and looks like he's now had a bit of contact with the Mercedes trying to lap him. I'll quickly go back.
I tried to look back at the Hickman, but couldn't really figure out where he had that contact made.
Just going to look now. I think he might have actually picked it up on... no, I thought he might have picked it up on a sausage curb somewhere, but yeah, I don't really know where he made that, got that damage to the front right of the car. But yeah, Dustin Hickman still on his way, 8 tenths of a second lead over Simon Grossman. Now they're just heading into the final corner onto the front straight, and they'll be starting to lap some of the Porsches again in the not too distant future. Speaking of Porsches, they've started to make their pit stops. Marcel Fassbender and Matthias Schoger have both come into the pits. 7.3 second stop for Fassbender, 8 second stop for Matthias Schoger. And those are pretty quick stops, Sam, so the fuel must flow into these cars pretty quickly on iRacing.
Yeah, I think that's probably just the fuel. I don't think they've taken tires in that time.
A few other drivers to make pit stops so far in the Porsches. We've got Corsi has been in. Nearly, I think he took the title last season in the roughs. 7.8 second stop for him. Jason Marical has also been in. Ryan Galloway also in. Then into the German GT3s, Domen Gantar has just come into the pits. Kieran Peters also been in. So 2 drivers into the pits there. And a battle on the track possibly between Sam Fitzpatrick and Michael Avdoka. Those two are side by side in the Daytona prototypes going into turn 6. Both have got heavy amounts of damage on their Daytona prototypes, and these guys battling over 7th and 8th in class. Michel Ritchie has just come into the pits as well. Sam from 2nd in class. Of course, he was able to get all those positions due to the cars in front of him pitting, but since he's been out an extra lap, he might have been able to use that to his advantage and might be able to get out ahead of those guys after his pit stop.
Yeah, that's something like a 7.4 second pit stop, which is the same as Jason Marichal. So we'll see how it stacks up, but also keep in mind that Christian Filosouf is still out, as is Lando Norris and Cedric Yasmier. So it will be interesting to see where they stack up after the pit stop.
Marcel Fassbender's just got ahead of Michel Ritchie, but this battle's going to definitely be one to watch through the rest of the race. Giacomo Ponte just in front of Fassbender. He has yet to make a pit stop in this race and finds himself in 5th in class. A few pit stop starts and more pit stops starting to be made in the German GT3s as well. Omar Munoz has just come into the pits, but this Porsche battle definitely one to watch for the time being as Fassbender gets that by Sam Fitzpatrick. Nearly disaster there, and here comes Michel Ricci. He's got a good run over the Rayhouse Straight and into the corkscrew. Bit of traffic as well. Bob Ponte isn't helping these guys too much. Not running as quick as the cars behind, and they've got more Daytona prototypes coming up to lap them. So this might not end too well if one driver makes a wrong manoeuvre. Oh no!
Speaking of wrong maneuvers, that's Ricci, and who was that in the Daytona prototype? That is
Avdoka, yeah. Why? What? I was just trying to work out what he was doing. Was he trying to get in?
He must have.
Was he trying to get in the pits? I think that must be it. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the only explanation really. Michael Avdoka was trying to get into the pits and make contact with Ricci, and that is another problem for Ricci, who was striving to get that second place back in class, and now he's down the order in 8th position. And yeah, Michael Avdoka has eventually come into the pits. Dustin Hickman is now in, our race leader, our overall race leader, into the pits. Dirk Reinhardt takes the lead. Be interesting to see if he can do an overcut on Dustin Hickman, stay out a little bit longer, get some fast laps in clear air, come in, make his pit stop and get ahead of Dustin Hickman. See how long Hickman's stop is. Stops, fuel only, first gear, rev, and away you go. An 8.4 second stop for Dustin Hickman. Cool as you like.
Yeah, and apologies viewers, there was a slight technical issue with the overlay, but we are back with the video, so no worries.
Who else has been in the Daytona prototypes? Grossman has been in from second place as well. So, and in fact, Dustin Hickman's been able to get quite a gap actually over Simon Grossman since the pit stops have been completed. The gap between them now 3.3 seconds. We'll see if Dirk Reinhardt's able to pull anything out the bag during his pit stop.
Yeah, looking at the lap times, Dustin Hickman's previous lap was 1 minute 27, whereas for Grossman it was 1 minute 31, so that's a 4-second difference.
Andrea's come into the pits as well from second place in class. Wonder if that bit of damage to the front left might just get a little bit of repair done during this pit stop. And Dirk Reinhardt's gone round for another tour of the circuit. And with just 16 minutes to go, Andra might be able to take a little bit less fuel. 8.6 second stop for Andra, and that front left damage has been repaired, and away he goes. Should rejoin in 5th place, and as he sends those cones flying as well.
Yeah, looking at the Reinhardt, I don't know why he didn't fit it, because right now he has heavy traffic in front of him that's going to slow down his in-lap if he's gone in this lap.
Well, Simon Grossman last time around did a 14.8 compared to Dirk Reinhardt's 15.1, so Reinhardt losing time out there. Matt York has just come into the pits in the German GT3s. That hands the lead back to Ricardo Castroledo, who came in 2 laps ago. Jesus Noglu also in, and Fabian Glockner. Dimitri Nikitsky also in, so we've pretty much had all our German GT3s in. We're still yet to see our Porsche leader, who's just been lapped by Andra, to come into the pits. Christian Thilo Zuck yet to make a pit stop. Same for Lando Norris. And with 15 minutes to go in the race, they're definitely leaving it late here. Lando Norris with a pro license as well. Races in one of the iRacing World Championships that we've got going. I can't remember if it's the Blancpain or it's the World Championship. But Lando Norris, good race so far. I'd be hoping that this late race pit stop will be able to leap him up the order a little bit.
Yeah, right now it looks like he has a clear track, and the Daytona field has split out, so it should be getting better towards the end for the slower classes. And also we saw Reinhardt pitting during the last lap.
Yeah, Dirk Reinhardt emerges in 4th place, so it's been a brilliant round of pit stops for Syandra. He's been able to get past Burton Harris, who of course had that issue with the back marker earlier on, and Dirk Reinhardt with a slow last few laps with all the traffic, as Sam was mentioning earlier, and that has allowed Syandra to find himself in the podium. Dirk Reinhardt will try and get it back though. He's not too far away from Andrew inside the final 15 minutes of the race, but for now it looks like Syandra is going to split the 2 teammates and find himself on the podium here in the opening race of the day. We're still, as a few minutes ago, still yet to see Thilo Zook, Lando Norris and Cedric Gessamia into the pits. Also Giacomo Ponte staying out long. These guys 22 laps into their stint now, and they're definitely racking up the laps. Same for Sam Fitzpatrick, he hasn't made a pit stop yet. He's been going for 24 laps in the race, so he's working the fuel load well. And he's just come into the pits now, so that rounds out all the Daytona prototypes who made a pit stop, and right on cue as well, Thilo Zook has just come into the pits, and it'll be interesting to see where he emerges compared to the likes of Marcel Fassbender and Shoga, who were near him when the pit stops began.
Yeah, Fassbender is just coming through turn 10, so he should be at least very close to Thilo Zook when he emerges from the pit lane.
Away he goes, very slow pit lane here at Laguna Seca. Where is Fassbender? He's just coming across the timing line now. Where is Thilo Zook? He's just going into the very tight pit exit that we've got here at Laguna Seca. Fassbender's got his work cut out. He's got the Audi leader, Castroledo, trying to lap him, and he lights up the rears on the exit. And Thilo Zook emerges in 2nd place in the Porsches, because of course Lando Norris still yet to stop. 6.3 seconds stop for him. Helps of course by the fact that he's pitted a whole lot later than these guys and has been able to shave about 1.3 seconds off his pit stop time.
Yeah, and he got kind of also lucky there with the Fassbender running into the GT3 traffic. So 02 currently 2nd, but effectively regained his lead.
And Cedric Gessamia in 3rd, yet to make his pit stop, so that green Porsche should be coming in the not too distant future with 12 minutes to go in the race. Where's Lando Norris in all this? He's just heading into the penultimate corner now in that Red Bull livery Porsche 911. He's going to stay out for another lap. The pro driver going to stretch his stint to 23 laps. Is Cedric Gessamia going to stay out? He is as well, so these guys running long here. Is there any advantage doing this, Sam?
Well, I mean, if you take plenty of fuel at the start, you will have a shorter pit stop. But obviously, if you have any issues with the tire wear, then you would want to run shorter stint. But if you can, it's probably just best to stay out and keep running for a long stint.
Giacomo Ponte has finally come into the pits in 7th place in the Porsche 911s. So that's him getting that pit stop out the way. And Lando Norris and Cedric Gessamia, the last 2 cars to make pit stops in the race. Round 1 then of the IMSA Sportscar Series at Laguna Seca. Intriguing as ever. These pit stops always throw up so many different scenarios and drivers running long, and this iRacing model, Sam, it does allow for a great variety of strategy in this series.
Yeah, and looking at the Ponte, it looks like he didn't take the opportunity to repair his car. There's plenty of damage on the right front corner that he has in the Porsche. But if it's not slowing him down, then why not? Why not just carry on?
If it isn't broke, don't fix it. Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. So yeah, he's going to carry on his way with a few battle scars on his car. Lando Norris finally comes into the pits after a 24-lap stint. He's going to take that fuel. See how short his pit stop is. Actually, since he's been in the pits, 6.8 second stop. He hasn't been able to. Well, he's been able to keep him in 6th place, I think. But he's not going to be near the podium. He should emerge just ahead of Matthias Heber. So a good strategy really from him. He's been able to gain 7 positions out of it. And yeah, Lando Norris emerges in 6th place in the Porsches after that stop.
Yeah, very good, especially considering that his car looks like he's been in some battles during the race.
Well, since the pit stops have all been completed, we can run you through the top 5 in the classes. Dustin Hickman leads Simon Grossman by just 1.1 seconds as we enter the closing 10 minutes of the race now. Simon Grossman in second, Syandra in third, with Dirk Reinhard in fourth. Has dropped back a bit actually since they emerged from the pits. Fifth is Joseph Burton Harris, sixth Ronnie Nunez, seventh Ben Gregory, eighth Sam Fitzpatrick, ninth Martin Blaise, and 10th Michael Avdoka. Ricardo Castroledo is a 9-second lead over Matt York in the German GT3s, Jorge Blascavals in third, Domen Gantar in fourth, and Julio Ornelas in fifth. And in the Porsches, Christian Thilo Zook leads the way there. He is 1.2 seconds ahead of Cedric Gessemir, who has yet to make his pit stop. Marcel Fassbender in third, fourth Matthias Schoger, and fifth is Michel Ritchie. Once again, in the closing stages, Samo, it looks like that Dustin Hickman might have Simon Grossman for company again. He was 0.6 of a second quicker on that last lap and has got the gap back down to 0.7 of a second. This gap just seems to be yo-yoing backwards and forwards during this race.
Yeah, it looked like he'd been able to just keep up with Hickman, but so far we haven't seen many serious overtaking attempts. And maybe they've just been getting caught up in the traffic, and Hickman has been able to deal with much better during the race.
Well, Hickman's coming up to a whole load of traffic now, mixture of Porsches and Audis. You can see Michel Ritchie is just in front of these guys, and Hickman looking to the outside of the corkscrew. Ritchie on the inside, and then it is Cedric Gessemir. Oh! Then Hickman says, get out of the way please, Mr. Porsche. And now Dustin Hickman is going to get held up big time here. One German GT3 car, one Porsche car, flashing the lights out of pure frustration here. And up the inside goes Grossman. There's one car dives into the pits. That's Cedric Gessemir to finally serve his pit stop. 26 laps he's been going on that stint. Now Simon Grossman, if he had an opportunity to get the lead inside the final 8 minutes, for the time being anyway, it looks like he's not going to be able to get anywhere near Dustin Hickman now. The gap's up to 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, I think that has been the story of the race. Grossman gets close to Hickman, and then comes the traffic, and he falls back again for a couple of seconds.
Simon Grossman just lapping what I think is his teammate in one of the Porsches. That is Marcel Fassbender, who is second in the second in class, not too far away from Christian Thilo Zooks actually. 0.7 of a second between the two leaders in the Porsches. Marcel Fassbender's been on his stint now, the second stint, for 10.5 laps. Christian Thilo Zook has only been on it for 4.5, so on the fresher run. But you could say that Marcel Fassbender is more in the groove than Thilo Zook is, as Syandra flies up the inside going into turn 9. He'll be up for a good finish here in the Porsches if Fassbender can try and get a bit closer to the Porsche leader. As off in the background goes one of the Audis. That's Matt York, second place as well. So that's a big moment there for the Audi. Whereabouts is Jorge Blascavals? Is he going to be able to benefit from this? He's just heading through the penultimate corner now. And these two Audis, Sam, are going to be right with each other going through the final corner.
Yeah, it looks like York really got away with that one. And just spinning around in so close to the finish, that's not what you want to do. He had a very comfortable gap over the walls, but now he's going to be under pressure for these last 6 minutes.
We saw one of the Mercedes doing that earlier. Possible problems for Omar Munoz. He was at the back of the German GT3s, and looks like something might have gone wrong for him. Just looking on what happened. It looks like it might have been a disconnection or something for Omar Munoz.
Yeah, I don't see any incidents or anything like that, so it must have been disconnected.
Well, that's the end of his race for the day. Just over 5 minutes to go in the race, and Dustin Hickman now has a 1.6 second lead over Simon Grossman. He's been able to pull the gap back just a little bit, just from the 2.3 seconds that we were talking about earlier. But I don't think it'll be too much to worry Dustin Hickman, as he now is about to lap the German GT3 leader for the second time in Ricardo Castroledo. He's just going up the inside of him there, and that is him through and laps him again into turn 2.
Yeah, Grossman's last lap was 4 tenths faster than Hickman, but again, we'll see what happens when they run into the traffic. This time around, it looks like Grossman is having no issues with that.
Well, interesting, really, because he's supposed to get a gap down more to 1.3 seconds. So maybe Dustin Hickman's struggling and is using the traffic to his advantage to make sure that Simon Grossman can't get near him. Because Grossman, as you said at the beginning of the show, Sam, that was quick in practice, showing that pace again here in the race. Holds the fastest lap as well, 14.4 by Simon Grossman, compared to the 14.6 personal best done by Dustin Hickman. And the gap is now 1.2 seconds as we've got just over 4 minutes to go in the races. Dustin Hickman tries to lap Dmitry Nikitsky in his BMW.
Yeah, and he just lost the whole 1 second when he ran into that BMW and couldn't get past him quick enough.
Yeah, 4 attempts now. Make that 3 attempts as we go hard on the brakes into the Andretti hairpin. Lap 33. Dustin Hickman, it's just 1 lap after Simon Grossman, but surely he's not going to worry about fuel. To be fair, he did an 8.4 second stop compared to Simon Grossman's 10.6. 3 minutes to go. Could Dustin Hickman just be lifting and coasting just a little bit to make sure he gets to the end?
I don't think so. I think it's just the traffic that is playing the part here. Because you wouldn't want to be lifting and coasting when someone is so close to you.
Trying to create some... Oh, it's off. Off goes the Mercedes of Ricardo Martin. Ricardo Martins, I should say. Simon Grossman trying to stay with Dustin Hickman again. Gap's gone up to 1.3 seconds now, so that shows the traffic again working in the favour of Dustin Hickman here. Just check back in on the Porsches quickly. Thilo Zook 1 second ahead of Marcel Fassbender, so that battle seems to have died down a little bit now in the closing stages of the race. Hickman going through the final corner now with just under 3 minutes to go. This should be the penultimate lap of the race. He actually might actually get 2 more in actually after this one, so we'll keep an eye on the clock. But Hickman on this occasion quicker than Simon Grossman, 4 tenths of a second quicker actually. 15.1 for Dustin Hickman, 15.5 for Simon Grossman. But how much traffic? They've got a huge gaggle of traffic coming up in the not too distant future, made up of mostly Porsches and the Audi at the rear as well of Fabian Glockner. And oh, crash just in front of those guys, and Leonardo Corti, I believe, has just been disqualified from the race after contact with one of the Daytona prototypes. So a disaster there for Leonardo Corti. And
taking a look at the replay.
And yeah, that's helped eliminate some of the traffic that Dustin Hickman and Simon Grossman are going to have to negotiate.
Tough call. I mean, that's not really a place where you should dive in as a Daytona prototype. There's a very little room there. So unfortunately, Corti got caught out and got disqualified from that.
Gap down to half a second again. It's when there's no lap traffic. Simon Grossman definitely turns up the heat on Dustin Hickman here. We're going to get 2 more laps in, I think, because we're going to cross the line with... Oh, it's going to be very close, I should say. We're going to cross the line with 1 minute 15 left on the clock, and it's a 1 minute 15 lap, just about. So, it'll be touch and go if we get another lap at this circuit. And,
yeah, we also see
Hickman
getting very aggressive, overtaking the lap traffic. Very close to making contacts.
Oh, he's going to get stuck behind the Audi here. And now they've got the 2 Porsches, which could hold up these cars even more. Oh, he might have just... Yeah, he just hit the Porsche there, Dustin Hickman. Trying everything in his power to stay in the lead. Simon Grossman's just getting closer and closer. The gap down to 2 tenths of a second. He flashes the lights, saying, hello, Dustin, I'm here. And I might try and get you here, which could be the final half a lap of the race. The drivers might have to treat this like the final lap, because we do not know just yet whether we will get 1 more lap of this circuit over the top of the hill.
We're on the last corner right now, coming through the main straight. 3 tenths between them and traffic in front.
There you go, that was me looking on a replay. As we cross the line, 13 seconds left. 3 tenths between them. Into the right-hander at turn 3. 3, 2, 1, 0. And that is the end of the time. This is going to be the final lap of the race. They're coming up on some more lap traffic. They've got a Daytona prototype and one of the Porsches. Hickman throwing it into the left-hander. That's Cedric Gesmere, who is one of the Porsches. Dustin Hickman laps him, and this might not work too well for Grossman. He's going to have to go up the inside. That's going to be a tighter line, and that's definitely going to work in the advantage of Dustin Hickman here. 7/10 of a second now the gap as we go over the top of the hill into the corkscrew for the final time. Not too long to go, the gap back down to 4/10.
And I can tell you that we have something happening in the Porsche series class as well. Michelari is seemed to have gone off, and Fassbender was very close to Tilosu, but then had an incident and fell back again.
Through the final corner, it's going to be a drag race to the line here. Who's going to win it? Dustin Hickman versus Simon Grossman. Round 1 goes to... Very close. It was Dustin Hickman by 19 thousandths of a second. Dustin Hickman wins the opening race of the day. Ricardo Castroledo is just going to come into the final corner now, and he's going to take the German GT3 win. Syandra rounds out the podium, by the way, in the Daytona prototypes. All on his own all race, Ricardo Castroledo. He takes the win there. But Shoga versus Fassbender for second in the Daytona, in the Porsches, I should say. Shoga through into second. Fassbender down to third in the closing stages here, and Shoga might actually fancy his chances of taking the Porsche win. He's throwing it up the inside into turn 9. Only 2 corners to go to decide the winner of the opening race of the season. Through turn 10, and now here comes Fassbender with a fair rate of knots. They all get... Shoga's out... Is Zook out of fuel or something? He was very slow on the exit there, trying to avoid the spinning Mercedes. And now through the final corner, it is going to be Matthias Shoga, 2 positions in the final lap. Tilo Zook is definitely out of fuel. Shoga takes the checkered flag. Fassbender makes it a 1-2 for the team, and Christian Tilo Zook, who pretty much led every single lap in that race, finishes in 3rd place.
Yeah, running out of fuel on the last corner. Just needed that 1 liter extra and he would have made it.
At first I thought he was just slowing down because he had to avoid the spinning German GT3 that we had on our hands, but yeah, ran out of fuel. 6.3 second stop it was for him. 11 lap stint as well, and it looks like that fuel just wasn't enough to get him over the line. Well, to keep the win anyway. Finished in 3rd place, and Marcel Fassbender got 2nd, and Matthias Shoga got 1st. And yeah, Leonardo Corsi voicing his opinions, not too happy with the Daytona prototype driving he saw out there today.
Going?
Dustin Hickman, where is he? Just looking up on my phone screen now.
I think he found some new roadways there.
Yeah, he's decided to go for a trip through the paddock. There's actually an interesting bit at Donington Park where you can almost go onto the banks where the spectators go. Saw when we were doing a test race in the what was it in? I think it was in the Formula Renaults actually the other day, but more on that another day. Dustin Hickman takes the win in the Daytona prototype. Simon Grossman pushed him all the way to the end, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. 19 thousandths of a second between them at the end. Syandra takes the final spot on the podium ahead of Dirk Reinhardt, who lost out during the pit stops. 5th for Joseph Berzin-Harris, involved in contact twice at the corkscrew today. That cost him a spot on a podium. 6th for Ronnie Nunez, Ben Gregory 7th, 8th Stan Fitzpatrick, 9th Martin Blaise, and Michael Evdoka, the last of the Daytona prototypes, 2 laps down. Ricardo Castroledo takes the win in the German GT3s, his Audi ahead of Jorge Blascavals in the end, after Matt York's late demise. That actually might have been the spinning car we saw on the run to the line. In that battle between the Porsches. Damon Gantar finishing in 3rd, Matt York 4th, Julio Ornelas in 5th, Kieran Peace 6th, 7th Fabian Glokner, and then Ricardo Martins in 8th, 9th Dimitri Nikitsky, and then the winner in the final corner in the Porsche 911s for the opening race of the Porsche 911s, Matthias Shoga, Marcel Fassbender 2nd, Christian Tilo Zook in 3rd, Michel Ricci 4th, Lando Norris, the pro driver, gained 9 positions during that race and finished in 5th. 6th is Matthias Haber, Mark Matta in 7th, 8th Cedric Gesmere, 9th Rai Galloway, then Jason Maracал, Giacomo Ponte in 11th place, Leonardo Corti out late on in 12th place, and 4 German GT3s didn't make it to the end. Omar Munoz, I should say, in 10th place in the German GT3s, 32nd overall. Jesus Nogu in 11th, 33rd overall. Rene Penquit in 34th overall, and at the back, Stefan Hering didn't take the start. Well, we do have a driver available for an interview. One of the Daytona prototype drivers who was able to get a 3rd spot and a podium here today in the opening race of the season. Sayandra, welcome.
Hi.
Well, you were able to get the podium in the end after a good round of pit stops, where you were able to emerge ahead of Dirk Reinhard, and a good race. Talk us about it from your perspective.
Well, just Laguna being Laguna, it's a narrow track, it's a short lap. I mean, and I don't know how many cars we had, but I think it was well over 30. So it was constantly being in traffic and I think the only clean running we had was for the first 10 laps or so before we got into the Porsche field.
Yeah, Porsche's new class to the IMSA series this season, and it seems to be incredibly tight in that category, and it made it tough work for the Daytona prototypes to lap them.
Definitely true, because some of the faster Porsches could easily keep up with these damaged GT3s, so that made it a little bit of an issue, as I heard before, for the leaders of the Porsches, but I think that was all resolved pretty easily. I think some of the DPs had problems with the Porsches as well, trying to make up time through traffic, but I'd say I had a pretty good race, made 1 spot back on the podium, so it was a little bit disappointing. I definitely had something for the leaders, but we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, it was in the closing stage of the race. You could definitely see that battle unfolding in front of you between Dustin Hickman and Simon Grossman. Very close between those two at the line.
Oh, definitely. What was the actual margin? I think it was less than a tenth, wasn't it?
Yeah, 19 thousandths between them at the end.
Yeah, that's astounding, especially for the DPs, because it's so damn hard to pass in this track.
Well, next week we head to a wider track at least, Silverstone, the Grand Prix circuit. Thoughts of racing the Daytona prototype round there? Haven't seen actually an IMSA race held there before.
Me neither, so definitely be interesting. First time, so a lot of learning to do. You'll know I'll be in practice sessions starting tomorrow. So, yeah, this time next week I'll probably be aiming for a win.
Well, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Well, shout out to Blackadder Motorsport, first of all, my team, for helping me prepare this race car. We had an absolute rocket ship, but I let them down in qualifying. My teammate, Joseph Burton Harris, had a little bit of trouble in the race, but he brought it home in 5th, so I think he'll be happy with that.
Very well done on the podium, and yeah, hopefully we might be able to see you on the top step next week at Silverstone. So, Sayandra, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Sayandra there, and Sam, yep, this series is back and it never fails to amaze, and great battles in all 3 of the classes that we saw today.
Yeah, it's usually the multi-class that brings in the action, and we had a very good sized field. Usually I don't think the Laguna Seca is very popular among the drivers, but it was nice to see a full grid for this one.
Yeah, and hopefully that will continue for the rest of the season. Well, we're not done here today on Apex Racing TV. We have got the opening race meeting of the Mazda MX-5 Cup getting underway in just under 2 hours time. Also, before we go, a reminder that next week the IMSA Sportscar Series will be kicking off an hour later. That is due to the clocks in the UK going forward. We will be getting the show underway at 5:45 UK time, which will now be British summer time. So make sure you can join us for that one on Apex Racing TV. Well, thanks to Sam for joining me in the commentary box and for doing the cameras as well. And round 1 of the IMSA Sportscar Series is in the books. Dustin Hickman was able to take the win, but boy did Simon Grossman make him work for it. Join us for the MX-5s later on. From all of us here, good afternoon.